There's something undeniably cute about a sleeping panda. Maybe it's their clumsy attempts at yoga poses or the fact that their paws look like little mitts. But most likely it's the stark contrast between their fluffy appearance and the ferocity of their ancestors that makes us go weak in the knees. And even though we find their cuteness adorable, we also know that pandas don't get much done. They sleep for most of the day and spend the rest eating, then sleep some more. And if that doesn't sound lazy, we don't know what does. But appearances can be deceiving because there's a genius strategy behind the pandas' seemingly lazy lifestyle. In this video, we'll reveal why pandas eat up to 84 pounds of bamboo daily and why they sleep nearly half the day away. Stay tuned till the end because we're going to tell you all about the pandas' pooping habits, too. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the video. We've got plenty of other amazing videos coming up that you won't want to miss. The reason pandas are so fond of sleep is simple. They need a lot of rest to get through the day. That's because these big, bulky animals spend up to 14 hours a day eating, which means they burn through a lot of calories. In fact, they consume around 20 to 40 pounds of bamboo every single day. That's equal to the weight of a small dog. But considering bamboo is mostly made up of water and fiber, it doesn't have much nutritional value. So pandas need to eat tons of it to get enough nutrients to survive. You might think that eating that much food would take a lot of energy. Surely catching, killing, and eating meat takes more effort than mindlessly munching on plants. But when your main food source is bamboo, it takes a lot of work to break down its tough, fibrous stalks. Although pandas descended from carnivorous ancestors, they've evolved to survive on a diet that's almost entirely bamboo. But that transition hasn't been easy on their bodies. Even today, pandas retain many of their carnivorous ancestors' traits. They still have sharp teeth and powerful claws, but they use those features in a completely different way than their ferocious forebears. Because pandas can't rely on their speed and agility to catch prey, they depend on their strong jaw muscles and molars to crush and grind bamboo stalks. This has led to some interesting evolutionary adaptations. For instance, their molars have ridges that help them slice through bamboo fibers, while their strong jaw muscles help them clamp down on the stalk's tough exterior. This process of chewing through bamboo requires quite a bit of energy, which is why pandas spend so much time eating. Once they finish a stalk, they usually move on to a new one instead of going back for seconds. But unlike most animals, pandas don't move much between meals. That's because their digestive systems are really slow, so they don't need to expend much energy getting more bamboo. However, this slow metabolism has some other side effects. As we mentioned earlier, bamboo isn't exactly a superfood. It's tough, fibrous, and low in calories. In fact, it has about 76 calories per 100 grams. That's less than half the calories in lean beef and 1/8 the calories in cheese. As a result, pandas have developed a slow metabolism to conserve energy. After all, there's no point in expending energy if you don't have to. Their slow metabolism means they don't need to eat very often. However, it also means that they can't absorb nutrients very quickly. That's why pandas spend so much time digesting their food. It's not because they have to, but because they can't move on to new food until they finish digesting what they already have inside them. But this leads to another interesting fact about pandas. Have you ever wondered how often a panda needs to relieve itself? Well, since bamboo is so hard to digest and mostly made up of fiber, pandas have to poop a lot. They usually do it about 40 times a day. Yep, you heard that right, 40 poops a day. That's one poop every hour that they're awake. Panda poop is actually pretty well formed. They don't just let loose on the forest floor whenever they feel like it. Instead, they head to specific latrines where they squat and do their business. These latrines are usually located near their favorite feeding areas so that the pandas don't have to walk too far to relieve themselves. When a panda needs to poop, it doesn't just squat and go. It follows a strict routine. First, it sniffs around to make sure no other animals are nearby. Then it backs up to a tree or rock and lets loose. Pandas are pretty good at aiming, but they're not always successful. If another animal happens to wander by, the panda might get spooked and run away before it finishes. And if that happens, the poop is usually left behind for the panda to clean up later. Pandas are generally clean animals. Even though pandas are excellent poopers, they're not so good at gripping things. Bamboo is slippery, so it can be hard for a panda to hold onto it while it munches. But pandas have evolved a clever solution to this problem. They have a pseudo-thumb. Yeah, it sounds weird, but it's actually just an extended wrist bone that acts like a thumb. With it, pandas can grip bamboo stalks and bring them to their mouths. They also use their pseudo-thumbs when they're climbing trees. That's because pandas are surprisingly good climbers, despite their size and bulk. But they only climb trees to eat. They spend most of their time on the ground where they're much more vulnerable to predators. So why are pandas so lazy? Well, it's because they have to be. They live in an environment where food is scarce, so they need to conserve their energy. If pandas were as active as other animals, they wouldn't have enough energy left over to find food and take care of themselves. Their slow metabolism, long digestive tract, and bamboo diet all contribute to their laziness. But it's actually an advantage for them. By being lazy, pandas are able to survive in an environment where other animals can't. They're the ultimate survivors. But don't mistake their laziness for weakness. Pandas are incredibly efficient animals. They've evolved to use their energy wisely, getting the most out of every calorie they consume. Their pseudo-thumbs allow them to grip bamboo stalks with ease, and their strong jaws and molars are perfectly adapted for crushing and grinding bamboo. Their fur keeps them warm in cold weather, and their padded feet protect their paws while they're climbing trees. Everything about the panda is designed to help it survive in its environment. In the animal kingdom, there's no such thing as being too lazy. If being lazy helps an animal survive, then it's a good thing. And the panda is the perfect example of this. They're lazy, efficient, and ultimately survivors. So next time you see a panda, don't just think it's cute. Remember that this animal is a genius too. The panda is a master of efficiency. It spends its days eating bamboo and its nights sleeping, all while avoiding predators and conserving energy. It's a perfect example of how being lazy can be a good thing. So maybe we should all take a page out of the panda's book and learn to relax a little. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching. We hope you learned something new about the amazing lazy genius of pandas. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We've got plenty of other amazing videos coming up that you won't want to miss. Until next time, stay curious, stay sleepy, and remember, it's okay to be a little lazy sometimes.